Hi everyone, Sally here. How are you doing today? Welcome to the Menopause Mindset Monday, even though it's Tuesday. So thank you so much for bearing with me yesterday. I needed a self-care day, put it that way, yesterday. So thank you so much for bearing with me. Do let me know if you're watching. Let me know how you are. How's your weekend been? How's lockdown life going for you? It'd be good to hear from you. So today's topic is called what has childhood trauma got to do with menopause? And, what has it got to do with menopause? It really has got quite a lot to do with your menopause, your menopausal symptoms, how you approach menopause, how you deal with menopause, and how you come out the other side of it. So it is very, very important. And we're talking about this because your mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind does affect it. And studies show, there's been many, many studies done on this to show how your menopause and how the hormone changes affect your brain, but there are fewer studies that have been done reverse. So how your mind affects your menopause. Now, those of you who know me know that I really like to come from that point of view, from the point of view of agency, that we all have the power within us, the deep-rooted, universal power within us to change the way we feel about ourselves, change our bodies, change our body chemistry, change our nervous system, change our circumstances. Because if we can't do that, it's a very bleak existence, isn't it? If we don't have agency, it's pretty hopeless. So I like to think that we do. We have the power within us to change our reality. And menopause comes into that, of course. So, there's a clinic called the Mayo Clinic who did some research. I think they researched 1,650 participants, and they found an association between women who experienced adverse childhood events and more severe menopausal symptoms. This is huge. This is massive. When we understand more about the whats and the whys, then we can problem solve and we can come at menopause from different angles, not just the HRT, not just the nutrition, not just the exercise. We've got a wider scope with which to understand our menopause. So, here's what they found. We found that women with a history of abuse, whether in childhood or recent, are more likely than women without these histories to experience more severe menopausal symptoms and more psychological symptoms. Women who report recent abuse are also more likely to report adverse childhood experiences. Okay, so this is a big finding because trauma massively affects the way that you feel about yourself psychologically, but it also affects your autonomic nervous system. And your autonomic nervous system regulates or dysregulates a lot of the functions in your body. So it can have an effect on your blood pressure, on your stress levels, on your hormones, on your brain function, on your heartbeat, on your breathing, on your temperature. Big one in menopause. And, stress. High cortisol is linked to over 30 different conditions, probably more as well. Having high stress in the body is most certainly going to make inflammation worse. When we've got higher inflammation, we've got, nothing happens in isolation in the body. When we've got higher inflammation, our joints ache more. We have more headaches, we have more back pain, we are more susceptible to illness, and probably somewhere along the line it can make your hot flushes worse as well. So when we have high stress in the body, we tend to also gain weight. If we gain weight, we're more susceptible to metabolic syndrome, and that has an effect on our menopause as well. weight gain as well can also be a subconscious padding. So if we've been traumatized, often people who come to me for RTT have been traumatized, and they have this weight because it's like a padding against external attacks. You know, the body is so wise. It will create certain things that look like illnesses and as an attempt to protect you. So we really need to ask deeper questions, and we need to go deeper. Okay, another reason why childhood trauma has an effect on menopause is because the mind and body are inextricably linked. How you feel about yourself tends to come true as well. So the psychological effects of trauma can really have a massive impact because those estrogens are declining, stress levels coming up to the surface, and it's all coming out. How we feel about ourselves, how we deal with certain situations, how we deal in our relationships, the confidence that we have or not have will just have a huge impact at menopause because things are changing so much. And we don't like change, but we have to learn to embrace it, and we have to learn to go with that roller coaster ride and just, go with it. It's like when you're on a boat, the best way to avoid seasickness is to go right at the front of the boat and go with the waves, right? Move with the waves. If you're trying to hold on and resist the flow of the waves, you're going to be more sick. So this is all about dealing with what is coming up at menopause, moving with it, going with it so that you can move through it, dispel it, and clear yourself from it. So what is childhood trauma? So childhood trauma is not just pain and sadness. It's not just abuse. Childhood trauma is about being alone in that pain and sadness. It's when nobody recognizes your pain. It's when nobody sees your emotions. It's when you feel alone in your emotions, happy or sad, but usually sad. When you're being told that how you feel is wrong, or you shouldn't feel a certain way, or, you're making my life difficult because you are whatever, fill in the blanks. When we don't feel supported by our caregivers, it leads to a whole host of issues. When I say supported, I mean not seen. When we don't feel seen by our caregivers, it makes us feel wrong on the inside. It makes us feel disconnected, makes us feel unsafe. And it leads to a variety of habits and behaviours that we tend to play out then in adulthood in order to subconsciously try to get those needs met. That could be in the form of things like procrastination, staying small, staying safe, but it could also be the opposite extreme. It could also be attention seeking, needing more, wanting more, whether it's more businesses or more stuff, whatever it is. You can generally relate dysfunctional habits and behaviors back to some kind of childhood trauma where a childhood need wasn't met. The need for safety and security, the need for being seen, heard, felt like you matter, like you are significant, like you are important, and the need for feeling connected, like you belong, like you are the need for connection and belonging. Basically, if that's not met, it all goes a bit wrong. And then in our adult life, we look for ways to satiate those needs. Could be through a drug, could be through hanging out with the wrong people, whatever. So why does childhood trauma want to come out at menopause? And it is because of the declining estrogen, declining progesterone, and the increasing stress. It's like the veil is lifting. How we were in our 20s and 30s is very much driven by fertility, by the desire to procreate, by the desire to, we have energy, we have sex hormones. At menopause, we don't. And so who we are without the sex hormones is revealed. It's very, very interesting. So the next question is, can So does clearing your childhood trauma help with your menopausal symptoms? And it's definitely part of the story. Of course, we need to work on our lifestyle. We need to work on nutrition, sleep, stress reduction, and exercise. But, mindset is part of the equation too, but also so is clearing your childhood trauma. So childhood trauma really is about coming back to reparenting, self-love, giving yourself the things that you needed in childhood that perhaps you didn't get. So I've got 7 tips here for helping you clear your past. And I just want to go on and have a quick look, see who's watching. So bear with me. Here I am. Great. I can see 2 people are watching. Give me a little wave. Give me a hi. All right. So number 1, don't try to do this alone. You're going to need help. You are going to need support. So it doesn't matter how many YouTube videos you watch from Marissa Peer, from me, from whoever your go-to therapist is, you are going to need to form a relationship. Hi, Claire. You're going to need to form a relationship with somebody, a therapist, a coach, a friend, who can help you do this, because this is about unraveling the emotions. You need a point of reference outside of yourself to know, so you can bump up against something. You need a wall to bump up against. There's a great analogy and I can't remember it. I need to try and find it. But you need someone else as a point of reference. So a relationship with a therapist or a friend or a coach or a mentor is very important. You need trust. You need to learn to trust that person. And that person, that therapist, coach or mentor, has to be able to really walk their own talk. Hence the reason why I had to take a self-care day yesterday, right? You've got to walk your talk. You've got to practice what you preach, and you need to make sure that they are practicing what they are preaching to. I've been to many a therapist where after the second or third session, I've just had a hunch that they really are in a mess themselves, and I've had to move away because that I don't want to pick up that energy. I need a therapist who has been down that journey, who's blazed the trail, who has got lots of tools and tricks and a great mindset and good levels of adaptation, energy and resilience themselves so that they can help me. So building a relationship with a therapist helps you, the traumatized person, to develop and build feelings of safety. And often, in childhood trauma, that feeling of safety has not been there. So building these safe relationships with a therapist, coach or mentor helps you to calm your nervous system down, helps you to trust life, and it helps you to know that someone has your back, somebody who you can reach out to when the going gets tough or when you need a different perspective or a different, perspective. Liz Watson, can you recommend a therapist in Brighton? Of course, me. Let's have a conversation via direct message afterwards. So yes, this is, where was I? Safe relationships build adaptation, energy, which means you can handle more stress and more resilience. The effects of stress are buffered if you have good relationships with people. So if you don't have a good relationship with anyone, that's why you need a good therapist. So so I was going to say healing the past can be a lifelong journey, especially if there's been lots of trauma. However, it doesn't always have to be, right? So this is why RTT is so powerful, is because it goes deep. We don't sit and talk about the problem for a long time. We go deep into some memories, we extract them, and then we change them. This is not endless hours and hours and hours of talking, but if you sign up with me, you get me for a month or 2 months or 3 months, depending on how long you sign up for me for. So we do WhatsApp support, we do coaching calls. I it's not just limited to the RTT session. And that's why I think it's so powerful, because it's intense, it's in there. It's not like a once a week forever thing. That does have its place, especially for PTSD. But not a lot of people have got time for weekly therapy. People just want their problems solved, and they want to be able to move on and move forward in their life. That's why RTT and coaching works really well, because the coaching helps you to thrust forward. The RTT helps clear the past without going over it and over it and over it. So, okay. Now, that's doing it with somebody else. There are things that we can do ourselves, because like I said, I believe in agency and autonomy. There are things that we can do ourselves to help clear this trauma. One of the most effective things is movement and exercise. So when we move our bodies in the right way, we discharge pent up energy. Childhood trauma can build up a lot of pain. It can build up a lot of hurt. It can build up a lot of sadness and suffering. We need to move our bodies to create momentum. Success is just movement. It's just moving from one place to another. So moving in a way that works for you. Finding something that works for you where you are at. So this time last year, I hadn't done any movement for quite a while. I started with yoga. And then when I started getting stronger, I started with weightlifting and resistance training. And now I do cardio, running as well. So all of those things. But yesterday, when I was having a down day, there's no way I could have lifted weights. So all I did yesterday was a few things around the house, a bit of cleaning and a bit of shopping. And that was it. That was enough. But today I've been able to do some yoga and a bit of walking. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to do some resistance training. So it's knowing what works for you. Now, there is something called TRE, which is trauma release exercise. You can go onto YouTube and have a look at what that is. This is about working into the specific muscles where trauma can be stored. And I know there can be a lot of trauma stored in the pelvic area and the lower back. And so TRE focuses on the specific points where you might be holding trauma. It's really good. Exercise is also great because it grounds you and it regenerates the tissue as well. So it's grounding you, it's pulling you down away from the head. And anxious people tend to have a lot of energy in the head. So exercise, because it uses the legs a lot, it's bringing your energy down into your lower body. So it's igniting the root chakra. We're enlivening the root chakra. We're pulling you down into the earth there, which is great. It's what we need. Exercising outdoors in the countryside is also great for grounding, and those polyphenols, I think they are, the aromatherapy that's emitted in nature has a really powerful cleansing effect in the whole body. So, my partner does metal detecting. That's his exercise, and it's great. So movement and exercise, really, really good for cleaning the energy system. You don't want to be building up stress upon stress upon stress upon stress. And if when you are exercising, you focus on release, when you set an intention, it happens. So when you set your intention, like if I'm lifting weights, I will be thinking about just discharging stress. So putting an intention, setting an intention for your exercise practice is hugely powerful and sends a signal from your mind into your cells about how they are to change. Okay, number 3 is touch. So touch is an extremely powerful way of helping you move through past trauma, especially if there has been trauma around touch or not feeling loved enough or not being touched enough. So, we have so many receptors in our skin. We have so many nerve endings in our skin. And I know a lot of us can't be touched at the moment, especially if we're living alone. We don't have a partner. We can't get to a massage therapist, but we can touch ourselves. And so this is about taking time, prioritizing your self-care, creating a ritual for yourself to touch yourself, to tell yourself that you are safe and secure, even if it feels odd. So breast massage is great. I do it in the shower with some coconut oil, just sort of, massaging the breasts. Really good for estrogen dominance as well. Massaging the whole of your body with some nourishing oils is really, really good for you. It's regenerative, it's restorative, and we have one of our basic human needs is that need for safety, and touch helps us feel safe and secure. So never underestimate the power of touch. Okay. Number 4, this is probably my favorite one. Number 4 is about accessing regularly that theta brainwave state. So the theta brainwave state is also known as the bliss field. They talk about it in transcendental meditation. It's the trance state, and it's that in-between state of being awake and asleep. We're not asleep, but we're not awake. Now, the ideal amount of time here in this bliss field is 23 minutes. Any longer and you end up falling asleep, and then you'll wake up with some kind of, that groggy feeling, that nap hangover. And that's because of all those sleep chemicals. In theta, so in the bliss field, you don't get that because the body is releasing the bliss chemicals. So you actually wake up feeling flipping phenomenal. All right, so how do we get there? Oh, no, sorry. What do we get? What do we get when we go into this bliss field? When we're in the bliss field in theta, we get enhanced rejuvenation. We get growth, we get repair, we get a massive immune boost. The brain is repairing, the body is repairing. We get everything that we need. We get a massive just rejuvenation. It's like putting the most expensive facial serum on and then waking up like looking 10 years younger. That is what you are doing for your body. And the great thing is, so when I work with people in RTT, I give them a recording, and this recording is around 20 minutes, and it takes you into that theta brainwave state. And most of my clients say that the RTT therapy session itself is wonderful, but the recording is even better because not only are you getting those suggestions going in, but you're also giving yourself time for you to access this theta state. And often clients will say, I'm sort of falling asleep halfway through. Is that right? And I say, are you waking up at the end? And almost always the question is, the answer is, yes, I am waking up at the end. And weirdly, I don't know how I'm waking up at the end because I'm not even hearing you. And that is when you know that you are in that theta brainwave state. You're in trance, you're in the bliss field, you're in that transcendental state. And the exciting thing is when you're in it, you don't know that you're in it. So you're not consciously aware that you're in it. You just feel freaking amazing. There's so much good stuff going on, and it really does have the power to go into your cells and recode your cells from the core. So it's really, really, really powerful. Claire, you've said that you totally agree. You love listening to the recording. That's great. That's great. I'm so glad, Claire, and I can't wait to catch up with you on our catch-up call this week. So it's about remembering to prioritize this kind of stuff. So 20 minutes once a day, or even twice a day if you want to, is part of the work. Rest is part of the work. Rest helps us to clear that childhood programming because it's so subconscious. Often we can't clear our childhood programming by talking about it consciously because it just reactivates the wound. we need to go deeper. We need to go deep into the subconscious and reinstall the language in the programming from the subconscious. So, number 5, put play back into your life. So if you had childhood trauma in whatever way, I would imagine that you had to grow up quite quickly, and that causes a lot of anxiety. Maybe for some of you, you didn't even have the opportunity to be a kid when you were a kid. Maybe it wasn't that bad for you, but maybe some aspects of your childhood you didn't feel like you played enough. And I think play is such a powerful healer. When we play as an adult, we're really giving ourselves permission to be free, be joyful, be happy. And, maybe that is a way of reparenting ourselves. So drawing, collecting seashells, collecting pebbles off the beach, dancing, putting your favorite music on, writing music, writing poetry, writing stories. It's about connecting with the world in a childlike curiosity. And when we do that, we actually go into a theta brainwave state. How often have you been doing something like something creative and going, wow, that's an hour that just passed there. That's amazing. That just went like that really quickly. And that is a sign that you are in one of those healing brainwave states. So when we play, we are healing ourselves, but it's also an outlet for our emotions. Like, how many tortured artists are there? And there's a reason why artists gravitate, people who have been traumatized gravitate to the arts, because it's such a natural way for them to discharge their negative emotions. Amy Winehouse, for example, a lot of her songs are really all about her trauma that she experienced. My songwriting days as well, I used songwriting hugely to help me through my 20s and 30s when I felt pretty tortured and alone. And interestingly, since I got into my adult relationship, my long-term relationship, the need to write songs just literally disappeared. So that's why I don't really focus on that now. And I focus more on the hypnotherapy. But yeah, some kind of creativity, comedy improv. Claire, I know you do comedy improv. I mean, for me, that's been a phenomenally powerful way of discharging pent up, sort of language from my childhood where perhaps mum or dad said, you mustn't behave that way. You need to sit, with your legs crossed and buttoned up to here and behave yourself and act in a grown-up way. Comedy improv enables you to just cut loose and swear and get really crazy, like act out your crazy inner self. It's absolutely fantastic. Acting, I find, just brilliant for therapeutic purposes. So number 6, be curious about the world around you. So curiosity absolutely downgrades fear. So when we're defensive, that upgrades fear. When we're curious and softer around the edges, that downgrades fear. Sorry, I can't remember if I said upgrades before with defensivity. So when you get defensive, you upgrade fear. When you are curious and ask questions, that downgrades fear. So how do we access curiosity? We ask more questions. We learn new things. We broaden our horizons. We generate new perspectives. So at the moment, I'm reading this book called The Wheels of Life, and it's all about the chakra system, which is something I knew a little bit about, but not in as much depth as this book goes into. So this is helping me see life totally differently. I'm asking deeper questions. When I did my RTT training in 2017, that helped me to see things differently as well. So it's about going into different systems, asking questions and seeing how each system relates to each other. And it helps you just to build up this deeper and deeper and bigger picture of the world. So I'm currently seeing quite a lot of people on social media like really acting out from their sort of limited worldview, potentially, you know, about the decision that Boris Johnson's made about coming out of lockdown. And there's a lot of people acting out of fear and confusion, and they don't, what does this mean? This is too vague. And they're sort of clutching and in their fear world. But really, this is about learning to challenge your reactions to what you are seeing, and see if you can ask questions, gain more curiosity, and just go deeper into why might you be feeling like that? What could the solution be? Could we just wait? Could we just hold on? Could we just not react or overreact? So, you know, I think when we react and overreact, it obviously creates more stress. And stress is one of the things that we can absolutely live without during perimenopause and beyond. We don't need to be feeding our stressors. We need to be curious. We need to use self-soothing language. We need to just try to understand why other people might be acting the way that they are. And remembering that we can't change other people. I can't change Boris Johnson's decision. What I can change is my reaction to it and my perspective about what is going on. So this is about as well being curious about treatments as well. So sometimes I've had conversations with people who have had all the therapies under the sun and they've not had RTT because it's a relatively new treatment. And they're coming to me going, well, how is it different? And that's a very valid question. But my theory is try it. If it doesn't work, you've learned something. But the world is evolving all of the time. We are innovating so much. There's so much technology that's driving change and driving therapies. Spiritual technology, they call it. It's fascinating. So have you tried everything? Probably not. There's always new stuff coming out. So, expecting treatments to fail can actually make them fail. So be open. Use what you know. Be open. Be relaxed. Be calm. Be curious. Remember, curiosity downgrades fear, childhood trauma, defensiveness upgrades fear. We want to release and reduce as much stress as possible. Number 7, last one then, befriend yourself. Make friends with yourself. Make peace with yourself. So if we've experienced childhood trauma and abuse, we are more than likely going to have potentially a low opinion of ourselves. We might be trying too hard a lot of the time. We might just feel really low about who we are. We might not feel good about ourselves. We might have self-loathing. So often when we embark on a personal growth journey, we can want to do really well. And I know I've had this. I've been super hard on myself sometimes. And this has been one of my things. Instead of going, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Damn, I shouldn't have done that. You know, the shoulding. I should know better. It's about saying to yourself, oh, okay, I did this because I was acting out of fear. That's okay. That's normal. Anybody would have done that. That's fine. Don't you worry. Wrap your arms around yourself. Self-soothe. Soothe yourself. And then say to yourself, you know, at least I'm noticing that I'm doing that. That's really good. I'm going to give myself 5 stars. Customer service. And then really just justifying your actions. Justify every decision that you make. Make a decision. Make it the right one. Justify yourself. So remembering that you always do the best that you can in any given situation. And it's acknowledging that, really acknowledging that you're doing the best you can. And if you feel you need to change something, you know, reaching out, asking people for help, acknowledging when you can't do it on your own. And acknowledging that you can always do things differently next time, or you can always try to be more conscious next time, or popping a post-it note up somewhere to remind yourself to do something a bit differently next time. And if you fuck it up again, that's all right. The likelihood is you will remember next time. So it's about befriending yourself. Okay, so let's do a quick summary of this then. So this is about childhood trauma, how childhood trauma can make menopause worse, your menopausal symptoms worse. And this is about acknowledging that you have agency, you can change it. It's not about just going, I'm lumbered with menopausal mayhem. Number 1, don't do it alone. Reach out to a therapist. Find a good therapist. Contact me if you want to know more about RTT and how RTT can help you. RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. Number 2, movement and exercise. Find the right kind of movement for you and check in with yourself on a daily basis. But whatever you do, do it. Do movement, do exercise. Number 3, touch. Get touched. Request to be touched by your partner, or touch yourself. I know it sounds weird, but do it anyway. It's really, really good for you. Number 4, theta brainwave states. Access that theta brainwave state every single day. It's so replenishing. Use hypnosis recordings. They are phenomenal. And remember that I do give you a personalized hypnosis recording if you have an RTT session with me. Number 5, play. Get creative. Get your hands dirty. Be creative, write songs, paint pictures, use it as an outlet for those deep-rooted emotions. And remember that when you're playing, you are in theta brainwave. Number 6, be curious about the world around you. Ask questions. Be curious about your responses and your reactions to what is happening outside of yourself as well. And rather than being reactive, see if you can get a wider perspective. Read books. Number 7, befriend yourself. Use self-soothing language. Justify your actions. Make little notes of how you can do things differently next time. And just be on your own side. Be your own best friend. Okay, lovely ones. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Just got a couple of requests, couple of announcements. Please share this video. Please share this group with all of your female friends. Tell them about what's going on in here. Tell them that menopause doesn't have to be mayhem. I'm really passionate about helping women to understand that they have agency, that they can change their menopause. They are not at the mercy. I'm still working diligently on creating the Menopause Mindset Academy. It's no easy thing. I'm still looking for people to have research calls with about this. So if you want to get on the phone to me, let me know and we can arrange that. I'm also going to be launching quite soon how to make sleep your superpower. So let me know if that is something of interest to you. If you struggle with your sleep, that's probably going to be like a 8 or 9 week course done via Zoom. It's going to be done live. And also I wanted to let you know that I am applying for a TEDx talk. I'm applying to do a TEDx talk all around this subject of, I think it's going to be called How Your Mind Affects Your Menopause. So that's it. I will see you here next week for another installment of Menopause Mindset. Menopause Mindset Monday. So yeah, I will DM you, Liz. Don't you worry. Yeah, let's have a chat. All right, ladies, have a wonderful day. Remember to be kind to yourselves, love yourselves, and treat yourselves with a lot of kindness. All right, guys, take care. Bye.